But first, Cassie Ventura is back on the witness stand in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. She's now giving new graphic testimony alleging the music mogul abused and sexually exploited her for years. We do want to warn you, some of the testimony is disturbing. At times, Ventura broke down on the witness stand, describing physical abuse by Combs and being forced to participate in marathon sex performances. Combs has pleaded not guilty in the sex trafficking trial and says all sexual encounters were consensual. ABC's Rena Roy is at the courthouse, and ABC News legal contributor Bernardo Villalona is here with some analysis. So, Rena, what's the latest from court?
Well, Diane, Cassie Ventura, as you said, is now back on the stand for a second day. And if today is anything like yesterday, we can expect her testimony to be raw, emotional, and graphic. Some of the details too graphic to even share on air here. She has spent hours telling jurors about those so-called freak-offs. Ventura has told the jury she felt she had no choice but to participate in those drug-fueled sex marathons with prostitutes. And she says that the one time she did try to leave, things turned violent. And she's referring to that 2016 video that jurors have seen multiple times at this point from a Los Angeles hotel where you see Combs kicking and dragging her. She says moments before that, Combs had given her a black eye during a freak-off, so she grabbed her things to leave. And that is when that video started recording. She says that was his reaction. So the jury is continuing today to hear more disturbing allegations from Ventura. Diane.
Bernardo, Cassie told the jury that these were humiliating sessions. She called them disgusting with male prosecutes. She says they left her feeling insane. And she essentially says it turned into this sort of private form of porn. What do you make of the picture this is all painting for the jury?
Well, this looks very poorly on Sean Combs. I would be concerned if I were Sean Combs that this jury is taking these acts and these emotions and holding it against them in the sense of that they're not going to really look at the facts and look at the law itself, whether these facts make out the racketeering conspiracy, does it make out the sex trafficking, does it make out a transportation to engage in prostitution, as opposed to looking at, is this a domestic violence case, is this a series of just sexual acts. But the question that this jury ultimately is going to have to determine, was there a racketeering conspiracy? Is there a criminal enterprise? So I am concerned. We're still in the beginning. Cassie has a lot of testimony to still give. I think she'll be on the stand at least up until Friday.
And what do they have to show to get that racketeering?
Well, the most important part, and the prosecution hasn't gotten there yet, is the criminal enterprise. Who were these people that Sean Combs was conspiring with to engage in these racketeering acts? And they haven't gotten to that part yet. Cassie, yesterday on the stand, did identify some individuals within the services of Sean Combs, including a person named KK, including security guards. So she identified a few people that worked in the inner circles, but we haven't gotten to the part of where was the agreement and what were the acts that these people in this enterprise were engaging in to show that they were all conspiring.
Rena, the prosecution, once they're done with direct examination, the defense starts their cross-examination. Any sense of what their strategy is going to be to try to counter some of this testimony?
Right, so the cross-examination is expected to begin at some point today. And from day one, the defense has maintained Combs' innocence here. They say that Cassie Ventura is a strong, capable adult woman who chose to stay with Combs and who chose to participate in those sex marathons, in those freak-offs. They say that all the things that the jury is hearing about, that those were consensual sexual encounters. They say that even if the jury thinks that Combs is mean or a jerk, that doesn't mean he's guilty. They did acknowledge that there was violence in this relationship, that there was toxicity and jealousy, but they say that does not mean that Combs is guilty of racketeering or sex trafficking. Diane.
Bernardo, what do you think the prosecution is going to try to do with this last leg of testimony with Cassie? Is there sort of a checklist in mind of things they're trying to hit on?
Oh, absolutely. The prosecution still has to get to those freak-off videos because there are certain video footage of some of those freak-offs, and they are going to bring it forth in front of this jury. Secondly, the prosecutor is going to get into the specific freak-off session that Cassie had with that second witness that testified, Mr. Phillips. So they haven't gotten into that encounter yet. So I expect the prosecution to ask Cassie Ventura as to what happened, who arranged that, and the specifics of also the violence that took place that night.
All right. Rena Roy, Bernardo Villalona, thank you.